Welcome back, traders. We've had some very good response about people who are interested in trading Bitcoin as well as the other cryptocurrencies. So this video we're going to be looking a little bit more in depth about Bitcoin as well as Litecoin and Ethereum, most of which we're going to be talking about Bitcoin because it is breaking grounds yet again. On Sunday, a Chicago-based derivatives exchange called CBOE Global Markets, they launched Bitcoin futures, which enables investors to get exposure to the currency through a large and regulated exchange. So this is opening it up to a whole new market. The CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of Polymath, Trevor Kverko, said, "We're going to see Bitcoin emerge as a payment network. Currently, Bitcoin is being used as a speculative asset and store of value, but as scaling solutions emerge, Bitcoin's utility dramatically increases along with its price." Now, what this means is that, there are already quite a few places that are accepting and trading Bitcoin in exchange for physical goods, that instead of using money, you could actually buy something with Bitcoin. And this is increasing more and more. But if it becomes a full-blown security token where people can actually go and trade everywhere, then we'll see that the Bitcoin's value will increase even more. One of the reasons why the Bitcoin value is going up so much is that there will be a limited amount of Bitcoin, and they are still busy mining it. People today are mining Bitcoin. I sometimes mine a little bit just for fun, but the guys who make a lot of profit, they invest in supercomputers to run these algorithms to be able to find the tokens that they need for it, and it's getting more and more difficult. And because it's getting more and more difficult and more expensive to be able to find the new Bitcoins, that's increasing the value of the Bitcoin itself. On top of that, there is a cap of amount of Bitcoins that can be found. There are approximately 21 million Bitcoin. So when we get to that level, then there can be no more. So it's a finite resource. It's not like you can just print out the money or anything like that. And because it's a finite resource, the value is increasing because it's rare. 21 million sounds like a very, very big number, especially when you look at the value of a Bitcoin. But considering it's becoming a whole currency on its own, it's really not that much. Now, if you have a look at the charts, you can see that Bitcoin hit a high here on the 8th, which was on Friday. And it's taken some time, but it looks like we are just beating that high again. Now, it has returned down a little bit, but if we take this as being, if we look at the technical analysis, and if we look at this as being sort of a ceiling where it's hit, when the ceiling gets broken, we could expect it to keep on moving up. So technical analysis is saying once it's broken, it should keep going. Because it's being traded more and because it's becoming more widely accepted, and now there's a whole slew of new investors jumping in. People who are more traditional with the old school stocks and that sort of thing are now starting to trade. It's increasing the demand for the product, but there is still a limited supply. And anyone who's been in business or read anything about a business book understands that supply and demand is the biggest driving factor of what determines price. The more demand, the more valuable something is, and the lower the supply, the more value something is. So with that in mind, we're still predicting that Bitcoin will continue to go up. Yes, there may be a bubble coming. We'll see that bubble burst and it'll come down, but it will eventually skyrocket again. Obviously, there are no guarantees. This is just what I'm seeing and what I've been reading, as well as what a lot of other big investors are predicting on it. The highest value that we've seen Bitcoin hit was about $17,300. Many investors are seeing that we should be able to hit $20,000 in not too long. Now, that's a 15% increase in value. If you couple with the fact that you could be trading with leverage, it's not unrealistic to say that you could actually double whatever you've invested in the Bitcoin over a reasonably short period of time. A research analyst at FXTM, Lukman Utunuga, said, "It's remarkable how back in November, $10,000 seemed like a psychological end-of-year target. With the current gravity-defying bullish momentum, it may be no surprise if Bitcoin concludes 2017 on $20,000. Now that's just over 2 weeks away, folks. So we may see this 15% increase from where we are now up to 20,000 in just the next 2 weeks. So we see that Bitcoin is hitting the ceiling, and it's quite likely to stay there for a bit. But by the end of the year, If the ceiling is broken this week even, then we may actually see Bitcoin end up hitting this 20,000 mark up at about here, and then who knows where it's going to go after that. We'll have to see what's happening in the news and the markets. Let's have a look at Litecoin. Litecoin had a massive growth just recently. Let's put this in the daily so it's easier to see. Over the last few days, Litecoin has traveled from ranging at about, about 40,000 pips that it's moving around, and then it moved up to 264,000. So you're looking at a movement of about 6 times its previous range that it moved in just 3 days. So we're going to look at this peak here, and we're going to keep an eye on that and see what happens when the Litecoin comes back up there. Ethereum has also been having a very good time. We can see that it has also recently skyrocketed along with the Bitcoin. We have not seen the same reversal on Ethereum as we have with the Litecoin as well as with Bitcoin, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. So we must definitely keep our eye on this as well. We don't have any highs here. We are in a new area. It's never been at the levels that it's been at, and this is a similar problem that we're having with Bitcoin, but it is a very nice problem to have, especially if you're one of the people who managed to get in way back when the Bitcoin was all the way down here. If you are interested in learning how to trade Bitcoin, one of the easiest ways to do it is through the MetaTrader platform, through a regulated broker. So you don't have to go out and actually try and buy Bitcoin on the exchanges and manage an e-wallet and all that sort of thing. If you really are trading purely for profit, then this is a fantastic platform to do it. It's a lot faster, it's a lot less expensive, and you do have that buffer. You do have JP markets between you and the rest of the world, and because they're regulated and because they have to keep everything in line, you get that added protection. Before I let you go, let's have a look at what's happening with this Euro New Zealand dollar. We can see that it has broken through this bottom line, although not significantly, but this has definitely broken through. And we see that it's starting to level out and the price is dancing around the 61.8. So this is still a waiting game. We still believe that the 61.8 is in play. And in fact, this might be a long pin bar that's forming around the 61.8. But we're going to keep watching the news and seeing what's going to happen on this Euro New Zealand dollar. I still have faith that this could be a very, very good trade coming up, but it's not strong enough for us to enter just yet. So keep an eye on the Euro New Zealand dollar and let's see where it takes us.